例えば、人工知能、例えば、計算、そんな感じです。多分、そして、あなたに会うことも、面白かった。つまり、日本の間に一番面白いこと、日本人と交換すること。日本人と話すこと。
なんですか、例えばなんですか、今やってないこ
うん、
とと、失敗したことがあることは、大きい違いがあります。例えば、その失敗したことがあるは、あなたは、そのことを一回、せめて一回やっていくことがあります。でも、その後に、早く、上手じゃないです。でも、やってないことは、本当に結果を自分でわからない。
でも、そして他の質問、これは少し、なんですか、哲学っぽい質問だと思います。でも、あなたは、10、どういう意味ですか？あなたの10は何ですか？多分、私の10とあなたの10が多分少し違うです。それで、あなたは10という言葉はどういう意味ですか？
Hello guys, in today's video I'm going to explain how to reach a really good level in Japanese in 80 months without having to live in Japan. First of all, it's really important to know that Japanese has 3 alphabets: Hiragana, Katakana and Kanji. And first of all, I would really recommend that you only would try to learn Hiragana and Katakana. That's not really that difficult. It should take, I would say, 1 week. And also as a good reading exercise, I would just maybe try to read a basic Japanese text which is written in Hiragana and Katakana, so that you're getting used to how it is being read. And so therefore there are many methods, many ways. For example, you can use a textbook, because actually textbooks, they usually have always have some text. So for example, the textbook that I used, at the beginning there were only text which was only written in Hiragana and also Katakana, and also there were spaces between the words, and the goal was not to try to understand what is written, but only to get used to the alphabet, to know how it's being read. Or for example, you can also use AI, in this case ChatGPT. Then you can, for example, write in ChatGPT, can you give me a simple text which is only written in Hiragana and Katakana? That's also possible. We are right now in ChatGPT, and now I'm going to show you how you can use ChatGPT in order to improve your, in order to be able to read Hiragana and Katakana. So like I said before, it is not about if you can understand the text, it is only about are you able to read Hiragana and Katakana. So what would I do? I would do the following. For example, I would write, okay, it does not have to be like my text, but I would recommend write something similar like that, okay? And so in this case, yeah, like you see, so ChatGPT has just generated a little text, so in with Hiragana and Katakana, so you can see, for example, this one, this one, this is Katakana. For those who don't know what it means America. But like I said at the beginning, don't you can focus on understanding, but in my case, I only focus on being able to read Hiragana and Katakana. Okay. And then yeah, for example, this one, this is Hiragana. Or for example, this one is also Hiragana. So you can see. Okay, and then for example, if you want to read a little bit longer, so a longer text, and then yeah, you can see another text. It's a little bit longer. And so for me personally, it's really a good tool to use in order to be able to read Hiragana and Katakana. But it is important also to tell ChatGPT that it should not use kanji. Like for example here above, do not use kanji, because ChatGPT is an AI. The message needs to be specific. Okay. The next thing. So after mastering Hiragana and Katakana, I would not try to learn kanji at the beginning. Why? Because first of all, there are a lot of characters, a lot of kanjis. And secondly, also even one character can have multiple different ways of reading. For example, this. and that's really difficult. So, what is the best way? What is really the best way to learn how to read Japanese? So in my case, I bought a book which is called 20 Japanese Short Stories, and the thing is, it is a bilingual book. And now I'm going to explain why for me it is a really good idea to use bilingual books. Because the thing is, and also it's really important to say that it's also important to have books which also have furigana. What is furigana? Furigana means that, for example, on the top of the kanji, the reading is also written, but in hiragana. I give an example for this one. I think you get the idea. And so, first of all, why I would really recommend to buy a bilingual book? Because the thing is, when I first started learning Japanese, so I only read short stories. So really short stories, I would say if there are only 1 page or 2 pages of a story. And the thing is, it was in Japanese. And here's the thing, at the beginning I understood nothing. I understood completely nothing. But it's completely okay. Because at the beginning, my initial goal was not to try to understand the whole story. That's impossible, because, like I said, Japanese, it's a completely different language. It is not like I would be reading a text in Spanish or Italian or Portuguese. No, it's completely different. So what did I do? Like I said previously, first of all, there are some Hiragana and Katakana. So actually, you are supposed to know this. You know, these 2 alphabets that you can learn in 1 week. And then afterwards, there are also kanji, but above that there is also furigana, which means the way of reading, it is also written in hiragana. It is above the kanji. What did I do? I just kept reading. We just kept reading. I didn't pay any attention if I could understand the story or not. I only focused on the most common used words in a story. Okay? I give an example. For example, watashi wa. This word is often used, watashi wa. I mean, I cannot imagine, for example, to read a Japanese story without seeing the word watashi wa, you know? And this is what I did. I only focus on the most common used words. So at the beginning, you know, maybe I would understand nothing, and then the second, and the next sentence, I would maybe see 1 word that I read before. And I'm going to be like, wait, I know this one, maybe. And then the 3rd time, the 4th time, something like the next sentence, maybe the same word appears again. And so therefore, my brain is going to start to know, wait, I've seen this word before. And that's how I did it, okay? So only try to focus on the most common used words within the story. And don't try to memorize anything, okay? We're talking about language acquiring, not language learning. We acquire languages, and the best way is to get exposed. So that's how I did, okay? So first of all, I read the Japanese story. Of course, at the beginning, I understood nothing. But there were some words which often appeared. For example, watashi wa, or for example, tabemasu, or ikimasu, or maybe gakusei, something like that. Okay, so I also prepared a little text, so to give you guys a little example what I'm talking about. For example, I told you that at the beginning, I didn't really care if I could understand the text or not. And so here's an example. For example, okay, the point is, it is really difficult to add some furigana. I'm just going to show you how you can acquire a lot of words even though you don't understand the text, only by seeing a lot of the most common used words. For example, in this case, we have this one. Wait. This character, I'm going to do it, I would say wet. Yeah, wet. So this one, okay? So actually this means school, gakko, okay? So I see gakko. So for the first time, you have no idea what gakko means, because like I said, actually above the kanji there should be some furigana, but like I said, it's impossible. It's really difficult to add it. But let's assume you know that it means gakko, okay? At the beginning, you have no idea what gakko means, okay? Let's assume. What to do? Just keep reading. Keep reading. Then you have gakko, and then afterwards, I see it word again, gakko. So it's twice. Twice, and then just keep reading. I see again, gakko. Gakko. and then just keep reading, and then, yeah, that's it. But as you can see, there was one small text, but we saw 3 times the word gakko. I highlighted in red, okay? And now, let's, for example, take this word. For example, this one. Tomodachi, it means friend in Japanese. I do it now. Blue? Yeah, blue. Let's do it blue, okay? Let's assume that you see it for the first time, you have no idea what it means. Like I said, keep reading. So that, then Tomodachi, okay? Now, here, again Tomodachi, twice. Then, you see again? Again Tomodachi. You see? And this is exactly what I mean by that you should only focus on the most common used words, because like I said, Tomodachi I saw 3 times. And so like I said, at the beginning you have no idea, but as you will see often the same words, your brain will pick it up and then it will be remembered. But you have no idea what it means. What to do? Just use Google Translate or another translation website. Use this word, like make a copy, something like that. Usually above that is also Hiragana, so actually you can also write how it is written in Hiragana. Post it, write it down in Google Translate. Google Translate in English or one language of your choice, and there you will understand what it means. Another example, let's say, well, this one, This one looks interesting. I make it. So this means actually ie, okay? Ie ni kaimasu, Ie. And then again, you see this kanji again, twice. Just keep going. Here again, you see again the same kanji, 3 times. Okay, actually, this one means this together means kazuku, means like family. But right now we only focus on the one kanji. Okay. So as you can see, we saw the same kanji 3 times. That's how I learned. Okay, that's how I remember these kanjis. Like I said, do not try to memorize. The brain will do the work. Okay. Just the word should appear as often as possible. And yes, that's how I learned it actually. Just by reading, but like I said, it will take a lot of time. For me, it took, like I said, so 2 months. 2 months. Every day reading only one chapter, and also with English translation and the bilingual translation, and yeah. And afterwards, I read the English translation. Okay, it does not have to be English, it can also be another language, but in my case it was Japanese English bilingual book. And so I read the English translation, and it was easier to understand, okay, what is it about? Because then I could understand, okay, this is the story. For example, in my case, the first story I read, it was about, I think it was about a woman who was in a train and who was looking at people. I don't really remember, but it was something like that. But at the beginning it was in Japanese. I understood nothing. Maybe I only understood like watashi wa, and then densha. Densha means train. But like I said, I only focused on the most common used words. Afterwards, when I read the English translation, it was clear, okay, it was about this and this and this, so I could understand the story completely. And then after that, there was a bilingual translation. I'm going to explain what I mean by bilingual translation. For example, there was a Japanese sentence, and then below that there was an English sentence. And why is it really good? Because for me, it was the best way to see word by word what is what. So I'm showing you an example of a bilingual translation. So as you can see, So first of all, I just want to say that I'm not really good at writing kanjis, okay? So, you see, we have a kanji. So this one is a kanji, this is also kanji, and this one is also kanji. And then above that, you see, here's the furigana. So it's written hiragana, and is used to be able to read this kanji. So this would be watashi wa. Then again here, furigana. So here, nihongo. Nihongo. And then benkyo, because here are 2 kanjis,
and above is the Hiragana, the fluency. And so, as you can see, we have a bilingual translation. Above we have Watashi wa Nihongo o benkyou shitemasu, and below we have the English translation, which is I'm learning Japanese. And as you can see, this is a good way also to know what is what. For example, this would be watashi wa, Japanese, Nihongo, and learning benkyou shitemasu. And also this is a good way to learn grammar because you see here a particle, o. And even though you have no idea what it means, I mean only by logic, by context, due to context, you understand that this means like, this it's an object, like I'm learning Japanese. Like the question would be, what am I learning? I'm learning Japanese. And this is the way how it is easier to understand how Japanese grammar works without having to look at the rules. I mean, first of all, it is really good to read the bilingual translation, like here, and afterwards to look at the rules because so it's going to be easier to understand.
Yeah, and so that's how I did, okay? So for example, I just kept reading. Like I said at the beginning, I didn't really care if I understood anything or not. But like I said, at the beginning you will understand nothing. But afterwards, when you often see the words that you learned before, that you acquired before, and if it keeps coming, then suddenly it becomes easier and easier to understand what you're reading, okay? And then suddenly maybe you will see some sentences where you know every word, but only one word you do not know. And also again, like I said, Japanese translation, Japanese version, the English translation, where everything will become clear, and then afterwards the bilingual translation. And so for me, I'm really the type of person who really likes using bilingual translation because, like I said, bilingual translation is really the best way to know how the grammar works and where is this word, this word, and also afterwards, after reading a lot of Japanese text, it's going to be easier to understand the grammar rule because the thing is, when you see the grammar rule for the first time, it's not something completely new because you've already seen that before. So, and therefore, I would say it's really a good way also to understand the grammar because the thing is, like I said, Japanese is a completely different language, okay? And also the Japanese grammar is so different from all the European languages that, I mean, if you try to understand it, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be time consuming. So that's how I did, okay? So I read a story. I saw a lot of grammar words at once without even knowing what it means. But at the beginning, I didn't care. I really didn't care. I was only focused on the most common used words, words that was often used. And then afterwards, when I read the English translation, the message became clear, so it became understandable. And then afterwards, the bilingual translation, I could understand, okay, it means like that, and that.
I forgot to add this in, but yeah, I would like to say that for Japanese grammar, for example, if there's a sentence, I would say, Watashi wa Nihon ni ita koto ga arimasu, and then the English translation would be, I have been to Japan. Let's assume that you would know the word Watashi wa, and then Nihon ni, but let's assume you would know ita koto ga arimasu. But thanks to the English translation, ita koto ga arimasu, I have been to Japan, it becomes clear that, okay, so this verb in the past, and afterwards koto ga aru, it means something like, I have been to, like I have been to Japan. Past tense verb, and then plus koto ga aru or arimasen, it means like in English, like, for example, mita koto ga arimasen, I have never seen, or ita koto ga arimasu, I have been. For example, Nihon ni ita, watashi wa Nihon ni ita koto ga arimasu, I have been to Japan. Yes. And now I would like to talk about listening. Yeah, to be honest, listening to Japanese is really hard. And so I'm going to share with you how I learned to listen Japanese and also how I reach a level where I'm able to understand a lot of Japanese without subtitles. So first of all, I have talked about a method called comprehensible input. And for those who have no idea what it means, I'm going to explain it really quickly. So comprehensive input means like we can understand, we can acquire a language when we understand messages. For example, if I would say, c'est une main. Right now you have no idea what I'm saying. But if I were to make the message comprehensible, for example, c'est une ma. In this moment, my message was understandable, because when I said ma, at this moment I showed my hand, and therefore it was easy to understand the message. But here's the thing about Japanese. The point with Japanese is that it is completely different. It is really completely different. It's not like you would be learning Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, or I don't know, or Dutch. Now in Japanese, it's a completely different language. And of course, yes, it is possible. You can acquire Japanese by using the comprehensible input. It is completely possible, but I can tell you right now, it will take a lot of time. It will really take a lot of time. And I'm being honest. Actually, I have no problem when something takes a little bit of time. But I don't really want to learn a language, the same language for, I don't know, 5, 6 or 7 years. That's my opinion, okay? I want to do fast progress. Okay, not too fast, but in a way that is enjoyable. And so therefore, on the internet, I found a method which is also based on the comprehensible input, but it's hardcore. I'm being honest, it's hardcore. It is called AJATT. It means all Japanese all the time. And the goal of AJATT is to consume as much Japanese as possible. In other words, immersion. To be immersed by the language. To listen as much Japanese as possible. Like you would be a Japanese person. Like you would be living your life in Japanese. And the thing is, unlike the comprehensible input, the point is not that you will understand everything. No, the point is only that you need to listen to Japanese. And it doesn't matter if you understand anything or not. You only need to hear, to listen. And there are really some people, they reach a really high level Japanese in a really short amount of time, like 80 months. There are some people, they reach that by using AJATT. And I was really like, in 80 months speaking fluent Japanese without ever having to live in Japan. This sounds a little bit too, this cannot be true. I thought it would be scam or something like that. But then afterwards, I was really curious, because also on the internet I saw a lot of videos of people who really reach a high level of fluency in Japanese only by using AJATT. And I was really thinking like, what if it really works? So therefore, I gave it a try. I gave it a shot. Yeah. And so what did I do? I went to YouTube, and on day after, of course, after acquiring some words, by reading, after having learned, after having read a lot of Japanese short stories, I already have acquired some Japanese words. But the thing is, I've only been reading, but not listening. But, like I said, AJATT, the philosophy of AJATT is to listen a lot of Japanese as possible. It doesn't matter if you understand or not. Just keep listening. And so on day 1, I decided to listen to videos which are for native speakers. Attention. There's a big difference between consuming videos for Japanese learners and consuming videos for native speakers. Because for people who want to learn Japanese as a foreign language, it's quite normal that the teacher is speaking slowly and also clearly. But now for native speakers, you will hear a lot of new words. Everyone is not speaking clearly or slowly, and you will be bombarded by unknown words. It is a mental challenge. It is, for me personally, it is like mental fitness. It is really mental fitness. But watch only videos where you already understand or know the context. For example, in my case, I watch a lot of Let's Plays because I'm a huge fan of Let's Plays. And the thing is, for example, when I started learning Japanese, I watched a lot of Let's Plays of Resident Evil. Resident Evil Remake 3, you know, Resident Evil 3, the remake. The thing is, I previously already watched the Let's Play in English. So therefore, I already know the story. I already know what's going on. But then, you know, thanks to the fact that I already know what's going on, I watched again the Let's Play, but this time in Japanese. And so the difference was, everything was in Japanese, but it's still the same story. It's still the same story. So what can we learn from that? We can learn from that actually it is the same story, but you will learn a lot of new words. It's a good way to acquire a lot of new words. Be careful, acquire, not memorize. No? And at the beginning, that's completely normal. That's completely normal. You will understand nothing. I understood nothing. To be honest, I've been watching Let's Plays, I don't know, for 2 hours or 3 hours, I understood nothing. It felt like a big waste of time. But actually, the thing is, when you keep hearing the same words again and again and again, eventually your brain will pick up these words. Like, oh, I know this word, I know this word, I know this word, I know this word. For example, arigatou gozaimasu. Everyone knows what it means. Why? Because we've been listening to that a lot of times. So therefore, we know automatically, arigatou gozaimasu, thank you very much. And so, this is the same thing here. Just consume stuff, just consume videos that you already know the story. Yeah, for example, in my case with Let's Plays, I mean, I already know Resident Evil, how it works, and what the story, but this in Japanese, and it was a good way, really a good way to pick up a lot of new words. And so I did it every day, at least 1 hour, okay? At the beginning, it was only 1 hour, because it is tough. It is really tough. It is really tough. But every day 1 hour, it's fine. It's fine. And then, eventually, there are some words which are more important than other words. And if you keep hearing to the most common used words, then actually it will become easier and easier and easier to understand. So YouTube is a really good tool because it's completely for free. And the only thing you have to do is only just write down, I don't know, write down something in Japanese. And then, for example, write down a name of a favorite game. And then you will add, for example, Nihongo, something like that. I'm giving you a better explanation, okay? So I'll give an example. For example, let's assume that you're interested in watching how to make pancakes, and that in Japanese. So I would use Google Translate. Just take the Japanese translation. You copy that, and then we go to YouTube. You will see some examples, huh? And just take a video that you like. Another example, let's assume that you want to watch a Let's Play in Japanese. For example, Resident Evil, I would say. Just copy. And then actually there are some Let's Plays. Yeah, for example, this YouTuber is really good. I like watching him. I like watching his videos, sorry. Yeah, something like that. So this how I actually use YouTube to consume as much Japanese content as possible without having to go into Japan. For those who really like Netflix, I would do it like this. Watch a movie that you previously watched in English or in a language that you know. Because again, the same story, the same thing. You understand the story. Actually, it's the same story, but this time the difference is it will be in Japanese. And again, same thing, you hear a lot of listening. You acquire new words. Again, some words are more important than other words. For example, shotomate. Shotomate. Please wait. The thing is, we are thinking like we'll be wasting our time. But the truth is, our brain is always trying to figure out what is being said. But the thing is, we don't realize that. This is quite interesting. To be honest, when I was doing Japanese, I also learned a lot about how the brain really works. That's quite interesting. But yeah, in this case, with AJATT, I mean, for the beginning, in the beginning, I listened to Japanese videos every day, at least 1 hour, if possible 2 hours. Because the thing is, back then I also studied electrical engineering. I mean, like everyone else, everyone has also his or her own life. For example, some have work lives, family lives, something like that. And this is my this is what I would recommend. Try to listen every day at least 1 hour. If possible, even 2 hours. And you will see a difference. In my case, at the beginning, yes, the first 3 months, it was, no. Yeah, the first 5 months, it was really tough. It was really tough. Mental challenge. To be honest, every day I was really asking myself, like, what am I even doing? What am I doing? I am wasting my time. But then afterwards, I've been also thinking like, but I don't want to get older, and then afterwards I will regret not having done that. And also, okay, it's true, at the beginning I knew nothing. But then, for example, 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, I became a little bit better. A little bit, something like, a little bit like that, because there were some words I knew. And so I was like, okay, even though it's not a huge progress, but really a small progress, it's good. It's better than nothing. It's a little bit like a snowball effect. Like at the beginning, it is small, but then afterwards, you will know more and more and more and more and more. And the same thing with Japanese. The first 5 months, I could understand like 10, 15, sometimes even 30%, okay? But then after 6 months, because of constant listening and also with this immersion, like every day at least 1 hour or 2 hours, I started to understand more and more and more. And also, when I heard the word I knew, my brain could pick it up like, I know this one, I know this one. And then after 6 months, I was really like, hey, wait, I understand really what they're saying. I understand that. Because the thing is, there's also another thing I would also like to add. Another good part about watching a video is also that it's a lot of visualization. You see things. And sometimes you understand messages even though you don't speak language. For example, I don't know. For example, someone is saying, I'm drinking. And then someone is doing, and then someone takes a bottle and drinks. I think it's quite obvious, you know. And this is the exact thing about language learning, about this this method, that actually we should use the visualization in order to understand the message, even though they are speaking at natural speed. I can show you a little example, okay? I can show you right now.
Moje Leid, ich immens durchstrich, ich trinke mal kurz Wasser. Ich mache immens gut, ich trinke noch ein Kerl, kurz noch ein Kerl. Hab ich auch immens hungrig, warte mal, ich gehe mal kurz aufs Essen. Okay, oh, der sieht gut aus. Warte mal, ja, okay. Guten Appetit, Leid. Okay, ich esse noch ein Kerl. Schmart immens gut.
Okay, so even though I was speaking at natural speed, you could kind of understand the message. Because the thing is, I did some things which were really obvious and also easy to understand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so therefore, yeah, 6 months. I mean, after 6 months, I was really like, wow. I kind of understood a lot what they're saying. Of course, there were some words I didn't understand about, but the rest, it was not really that gibberish for me. It wasn't really that gibberish. And so I could understand, like, I would say 50% after 6 months. Keep in mind, 6 months. We don't live in Japan. Every day 1 hour, 2 hours. And then I thought like, how would it look like for another 6 months? But this time, I did differently. I was trying to listen to Japanese 3 hours or 4 hours every day. But not in a row, but like, for example, 2 hours in the, I don't know, in the morning and then 2 hours in the evening, something like that. Like I said, I'm just telling you how I learn Japanese. Huh? A lot of listening. Do not try to memorize words. The brain will do the work for you. You only need to hear a lot of the most used words. Also with visualization, it's going to be easier to understand, really easy to understand. And then in my case, you know, when you start to understand a lot what's being said, you are going to enjoy it more and more and more. And then, because as you keep enjoying, you want to watch more. And also another thing which is really important is also that I also told that in a previous video that you should live your life in your target language. And it was the case with Japanese. I mean, after another 6 months, like 12 months, I reached to a point like, I didn't care if it was in Japanese or not. I understood. I understood the message. It was quite interesting, to be honest. Like, my brain was able, like, it became second nature for me to understand, this, that. Like, it is obvious to me, really obvious. But yes, it was really a challenge. It was really a fight. But it's not impossible. And then after 80 months, I almost understood everything. Of course, sometimes there's some words I don't understand, but generally speaking, I can understand, I would say, right now, 98%. But I can tell you, it is a challenge, but it is really rewarding. You can really learn Japanese in 80 months, but it is tough. It is really tough. Many people cannot do that. But those who can, they will be rewarded. Like myself, because like I said, only to be immersed, huh? To be immersed. Sorry, my English is not really that good. Like immersion. And also, like I said, this is a good strategy at the beginning. Watch content that you previously watched in English or in a language that you know. Watch in Japanese. And then, because you already know the story. And then try to focus on the most common used words. And afterwards, also use the visualization to understand what's happening. And enjoy the process. Because language learning is a lifelong journey, okay? It cannot be done in one single day. And then, yeah, I mean, right now I've been learning Japanese for 3 years and 6 months. And I can tell you, it changed my life. It completely changed my life. I mean, it is not right now. It is quite normal for me. For example, right now, after 3 years and 5 months, 6 months, sorry, 6 months, I'm able to watch videos for Japanese native speakers. I understand almost everything. Also about kanji, I give an example. I mean, for me right now, when I see this kanji, it's not really that difficult to understand. But, like I said, AJATT is really tough. You can also do it with comprehensible input, but if you really want to do it fast, but also a little bit painful, a little bit, then I would recommend AJATT, because you will do fast progress, but you have to have a big discipline. Yes. Veel moois mensen dat hebben weer gekoekt doet. En ik zie naast demnächst. Adi.